Well, good afternoon and welcome to the channel once more. My name is Matt Nippers, better known as Spectre, depending on the Discord you're in. And welcome to another night of sim racing on Assetto Corsa. Tonight we are back with GT Club and the Ford Focus Super Cup, as we are currently following, I want to say that is Lieutenant Llama, yeah it is, at Motorland, Aragon. So, exciting track. Looks like it's going to be a very tight race. If I just quickly Alt-Tab back into the window. So, as you can see, we've got a lot of drivers that are quite close together. A few drivers I know haven't had any practice whatsoever. Good to see the return of Loic Minea. And, of course, we have Mashiro Arasaka, who was in the server just not that long ago, but I'm sure he'll be back in. We're still waiting on a few more people to join the server, but it's going to be a really exciting race. This is, of course, Motorland Aragon. Those of you who don't know what it is, this is a very popular track in Spain. They run MotoGP World Superbikes here. And we're going to take you for a quick onboard lap here. We've just gone through turn 1 and 2. Expect a lot of action in turn 1 before we tip it into turn 3. Use all the exit space. Now this is going to be a tricky corner because it's fairly open to start with, but then you've got to slow it down, get the car rotated as it tightens up. Use all the space. Try and open up this long sweeper as much as you can because it tightens again. Get into the apex nice and tight. Don't touch those sausage curves. That will throw the car off the track. And now we're into the reverse corkscrew. Downhill approach, and it just keeps going downhill. And then it just opens up into this super long left-hand corner. It just doesn't seem to end. Tightens up a little bit in the middle. Now we're on it again. 100% throttle up through the gears. Careful here because all of a sudden, blind entry. Got to slow it down. Switch back to the right-hand side through another sweeper, and then we got another tight little S-bend here, back through the gears. Don't carry too much speed in because you've got to get this corner right because we have got this huge back straight. This is almost as long as Paul Ricard's front straight. We're going to see a lot of slipstream battling down this straight, but don't get too carried away because you're about to get onto the brakes right about now for this extremely tight hairpin. So, of course, we're using the GT layout, not the MotoGP layout. Of course, the MotoGP layout is somewhere over there, that big, long sweeper. Then back over the crest once again, and that is one lap of Motorland Aragon. How did I do with that one? That wasn't too bad. It wasn't as good as Tyler Craig's effort on Tuesday night, as unfortunately Lieutenant Llama just bins it right in front. In fact, Lieutenant Llama going straight to the top of the timesheet there, so that's not bad for Lieutenant. Chris Nipris, he's doing quite well, up in third, just sitting behind Matt Double. Now, word on the street was that Chris Nipris, earlier in the week in the practice lobby, he was actually fastest by 0.2 of a second. So definitely keep an eye on the number 61. But he's going to have some very stiff competition with the likes of Loic Minea, Arasaka, and of course Dravelmir in the server as well. So very interesting to watch those two battle it out. Actually, those three, Dravelmir, Arasaka, and Minea. We'll see if Chris Nipris can take over the role of the perpetual dark horse. As I haven't seen Justin Rediex enter the server yet. I hope he is going to turn up. But, well, Chris Nipris might be the guy that takes over that dark horse mantle. So he's currently third in the server. Ryan Ford, as well as having a strong appearance, at least in practice. Fourth in the server so far, just ahead of Bradley. Bradley is doing a great job as well. Wait and see what Ryan can manage. He's certainly been on a good roll lately, has Ryan Ford. And we'll see if he can continue his strong form, especially after the last round. That was a really good show from Ryan Ford, scraping through with a top 5 and really knocking on the door of a podium in the first race, I believe. And then, unfortunately, I think the wheels came off for him in race number 2. So we'll see if he can get it a little bit better tonight. Another driver to really keep an eye on down in 7th place is Matt Southwell. Word on the street, again, Matt Southwell once more. He has only just downloaded the track. So he has done no practice whatsoever. We'll see where he ends up. He's actually not too far off that top time. So that is not bad for a guy with no practice on the circuit and was not even sure how the circuit ran. So we'll wait and see if Matt Southwell can get it a little bit further up the grid than 7th. His teammate, of course, with Chris Nippers in the 1-6 Motorsport camp. Now let's see, Loic Mania. This guy made waves on his first appearance in the series, and that was back at. I'm just trying to think. Hang on, let me just bring up the Discord quickly. I honestly, I had the round in my head, and I just completely forgot. It was Algarve, that's right. So he really took the fight up to Mashiro Arasaka, who, if I'm not mistaken, is currently leading the championship. No, he is not, actually. So he's not too far off it. He's just 10 points behind Dravelmir, currently sitting 8th in the server. Dravelmir has had a very consistent run. He's had 55 points at Hungaroring, 49 points at Circuit de Buenos Aires, 42 points at Algarve, and then he took home 63 points, which no doubt helped his cause heading into this penultimate round of the series. We only have one more race after tonight, and that is at Anadara, sorry. And I'll tell you right now, I'm very excited to know what they have got coming up next here in GT Club. And let me just give you a bit of a preview as soon as I find the right one. So, hold up. So, in case you're wondering what they've got planned next, it is the TA2 Muscle Car Series. That is going to be super exciting. I'm looking forward to streaming that one. If you want to get involved with GT Club, I'll actually give you a Discord invite and you can join up. Let's see. So, just for brevity's sake, there is GT Club's Discord. So, yeah, definitely make sure you check that out. And, of course, something else that they've got going for them is the WEC series, which is starting in March at Sebring. LMP1 and GTE. I've got a good selection of cars there. That's going to be really exciting to watch as well. Unfortunately, won't be seeing that live on this channel. Oh, well, actually you will. Hopefully we still have Tyler Craig on board to live stream that for us while I'm actually in the driver's seat for that one. So, yeah, that's going to be exciting. But anyway, let's head back to the track. In fact, I'm going to give you guys a full screen of the circuit now as we run down the clock for this practice section. Loic Mania, only up to 9th place. He's got a lot of time to make up, but if his first appearance performance is anything to go by, don't expect this guy to stay down in 9th for too much longer. And we'll definitely keep an eye on Dravelmir, who's currently just doing his pit stop practice. That is good. Very smart to do. It is a fairly fast entry into pit lane, so I'm seriously hoping... in fact, Dravelmir, I don't know what he's doing. I think that is worth a penalty. You shouldn't be reversing out of the pit lane, Drav. And in fact, he has shown us a gateway to Narnia. So that's where... Okay, bye, Drav. Bye. He's off on an adventure. Oh, boy. So, yeah, that's a bit of a talking point tonight. Actually, perfect timing for that demonstration, Drav. Apparently there are some portals to Narnia on this map. So yeah, hopefully no one finds said portals. We also see Daniel Cycluna has slid into the server, as we're currently focusing on Bradley, who I want to say he's just come out of pit lane. Yeah, he must have. Yep, drives out of the server, but he'll be back soon. He'll be back soon. So, tight at the top. Nothing separating the top three, or even top five, actually. 3/10 actually separating Lieutenant Lama, Walker, Matt Double, Chris Nipris, and Bradley. And then it goes a little bit further back to Ryan Ford. Ryan Ford sort of a little bit in no man's land there, but he'll be getting up there. He's not a driver who stays down for very long. Let's have a quick look at this guy here, Daniel Cycluna. He has been a very, shall we say, flamboyant driver in this series. He's been aggressive. He's not afraid to have a go. Currently sitting, if I'm not mistaken, he is sitting in 4th place on 140 points, just 7 points. In fact, he has just sent himself to Narnia at the second flip-flop, I'm going to call that. Just in front of the legendary Aragon wall. So, actually run through the series standings for you while we're just waiting for the server to tick over. So your series leader is Dravelmir on 167 points once the drop your worst round point drop has been adjusted. He's just ahead of Mashiro Arasaka on 157. Then we have Matt Double on 147. Daniel Cycluna brings up 4th place with 140, just ahead of Lee Walker on 133, who similarly very close between Walker and Rediex. Rediex on 130, Steve Dura on 128 in 7th, Chris Nipris on 118, Matt Southwell with 111, so the two 1/6 Motorsport guys, 8-9 in the championship. Ryan Norridge in 10th, rounding out the top 10 on 108, but he is just a whisker in front of Ryan Ford and Corey Williams similarly. Then we have Angry Oldfella on 88, Lieutenant Lama on 75, so Lama having a bit of a struggle this season, but I'm sure he'll come good. Andrew Ferguson having only done 2 rounds so far, he's in 15th. Bradley also only doing 2 rounds, he's in 16th. Loic Mania in 17th on 51, having only done 1 round. Then we have Mike Casey, Specky K, Wilco Whiteheart, and Damon McIntosh rounding out the 21 cars in the series, although of course we haven't had 21 cars yet. I'm sure we will eventually. Should definitely get involved with GT Club. Great group of guys, great management. So, yeah, get involved with them. So as we tick down to almost 5 minutes left in this session, currently focusing on Daniel Cycluna. I don't think he's done any practice tonight, so I don't think. Well, we won't write off Cycluna just yet. It's still early days in the night, and he learns tracks very, very quickly. He is just ahead of one of the 1/6 Motorsport guys. I think that would be Chris Nipris just behind. I saw him flashing the headlights like crazy. Chris just needs to settle down a bit. It is only practice. Let's check in with Mashiro-san. This guy has been an absolute whirlwind in the series. He is just... Yeah, he made a big splash in his first appearance at Circuit de Buenos Aires, and honestly, it's just been getting faster and faster. In fact, while we're focusing on Mashiro-san, let's have a look at the ballast situation. So Dravelmir, he is the highest with 60 kilos on that car. Then Mashiro Arasaka on 50. If we go over the page, we're looking for Matt Double, who's got 42 kilos of ballast. Lee Walker on 30 kilos. Chris Nippers on 21. Southwell with 18. Dennis Saluna with 35. Saluna is still going pretty strong in 4th place in the series. So that's why he's carrying so much ballast at the moment. Justin Rediex with 25. Steve Joe with 23. And then we have Ryan Norwich carrying 15 kilos of success ballast. Bradley has actually gone to the top of the timesheet. So Bradley in the Rainbow Paddle Pop car, sitting on top with a 50.135. So that's actually a good time to start a new prediction for you sitting at home. What will be the pole time? Are we going to see a 49? We'll go 49 point. Let's go 49.5 and 149.5 plus. I'll give you guys a few minutes just to have a consider. Well, actually, we'll sit on that for a little while because we know that we have to swap servers at the conclusion of practice. So try and find someone else. Matt Southwell. Try and get some sectors happening as well so we can have a look and see who's actually on a bit of a flyer at the moment. Southwell probably just only rejoined the circuit. Just a reminder for those of you, if this is your first time joining this stream for this series, it is fixed setup, no tyre blankets. These cars do have electronic aids such as ABS and traction control, but realistically, the fast guys, you will find that they will be turning that traction control as low as humanly possible. So these cars have a tendency not to rotate very well on throttle, but they seem to be rather suited to this circuit. As Southwell runs a little bit too deep into the second chicane, and that's going to hurt him down this long back straight. Know that MotoGP and the World Superbikes, they're clearing 300 kilometers per hour down this long back straight before, of course, they turn left at that little chicane there with the witches' hats all over it. Oh, sorry, sweeper, I should say, not chicane, sweeper. Professional streamer, professional race broadcaster. We'll keep following Matt Southwell for now, unless we see someone else out there setting a much faster lap time. Chris Nippers returned to the pits in the number 61. And Southwell is just, I think he may have grabbed a little bit too much curb going through turn 4. That's going to hurt his time, and now, right now, he's just hurting his lap time a little bit. As Ryan Ford jumps out of the server, hopefully temporarily, as we tick down to the final minute of practice, I should say. Southwell not looking to improve in the early stages of this lap, although he can always find time somewhere else in the lap. So we see that delta fluctuating. In fact, he is going to bail out of that one. So we'll have a look at Matt Double. We won't have any deltas for him, unfortunately. But, geez, it is looking really tight at the top, with the likes of Bradley, Lama, Walker, Double, Nipris, and Dravelmere. Dravelmere is still about half a second off the back of Chris Nipris there. Ryan Ford will slot into 6th between Nipris and Drav. So it's going to be very interesting tonight. And in fact, Matt Double is bailing out of that lap. He is probably practicing his pit entry. Not a bad idea. We'll see Arasaka cross the line, and he goes at 51.6. Check on Daniel Cicluna as he comes around the final corner, and he dives into pit lane as well. Practice those pit stops, guys. Very important that you do that. There's Lot Mania looking for some pace tonight by the looks of things, as he goes at 51.7. And just for fun, we're going to check in with Dravelmere, who's actually predicted to do a 150.7. When we look down in the bottom right-hand corner there, you can see that the predicted time is just fluctuating along with that delta. It's looking like a strong lap though for Drav. So he tips it out of the final corner before this long straight. In fact, he has set a purple sector by nearly 0.2 of a second. So this could be an almighty time from Drav. In fact, he's oh no, never mind. He's a few people are leaving the server now. So he tips it into the hairpin. It's looking like a pretty strong lap for Drav. The predictor looking at a very low 150, 150.3. It's going to be pretty quick, I think. Yes, indeed, 50.384. So that is not a bad effort for Drav. As we will wrap up the practice session. So Bradley topping the timesheets with a 150.135. And while you're listening to me ramble about the timesheet results, have a go at the prediction. So are we going to see a sub 149.5, or are we not going to clear the 149.5s at all tonight? So anyway, Lieutenant Larmuck, second fastest in practice with a 150.2. Lee Walker up there in third, 150.3. Dravelmere slides into fourth, just between Walker and Double with a 150.384. How close are those times there? Less than a tenth between Walker, Dravelmere, and Matt Double. Matt Double in fifth with a 150.396. Then we have Chris Nippers with 150.510. Ryan Ford, 150.7. Matt Southwell, 151.3. You can find some improvement though. Guarantee it. Mashiro, Risaka, and Lot Manuya rounding out the top 10, but don't expect those guys to stay at the back of the top 10. And then we have Daniel Sakluna with a 156.8, still learning the track, I would like to think. Anyway, we're going to jump out of the server now and quickly dive into this screen, the wonderful face cam. Get rid of that. So, may as well talk about the upcoming streams that we have. Well, basically, we haven't really got a lot coming up. Sunday night, we're pretty well empty. We're actually going to be broadcasting, or we're commentating with the Octane Online Racing League for their 2022 Bathurst 12-hour on Assetto Corsa Competizione. That is going to be really exciting. I really am looking forward to broadcasting the last 4 hours along with the team at Octane, so make sure you jump over to YouTube and check out Octane Online, and then we will be live again on Tuesday night. I can just double check. Let's see. So, yep, Tuesday night we will be live again with Shakedown Sim Racing. And that will be on Assetto Corsa Competizione Nürburgring GT3. 2 30-minute races with a top 10 reverse grid in race 2. So that's going to be pretty exciting. So make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you subscribe to us if you want. Of course, every little like and every little follow helps us here on the channel grow and get a little bit bigger. So yeah. Share the stream as well if you feel like it. But anyway, we'll get set for a start. Actually, I think the server might actually be live. Nope, I'm wrong. I am wrong. So while we're waiting, folks in chat, you got any questions? Anything you want to know? Any predictions? Let me have it on chat. Okay, good news. Server is live, so we don't have to have this awkward silence. Here we go, launching into the server. Did anyone actually... Yeah, no one really got involved in the predictions. No, that's a shame. That's a shame. That's okay. Might actually start that again. Perhaps... Might make it a little bit easier. How about a 149.7? What are we liking for qualifying? Get those predictions happening, folks. And some channel points. As we have a few people lining up at the end of pit lane. Track position is going to be pretty crucial. I'm actually very surprised that we're seeing people line up at the end of pit lane because of this, because of that big long back straight. You would think that the last thing you'd want to do is give a massive tow to the drivers in behind you. So I'm a bit surprised that Mashiro is sitting at the end of pit lane. Might see if he plays some strategy. Here we go. We got some predictions coming in. Ruka, 100 points on a 149.7. Well, someone best jump in and steal those points away from Ruka, because I got a good chance, I think. As, in fact, Arasaka is sort of missed the jump, and that has allowed Matt Double to go out in front. But I think he's going to regret that decision. As if you've watched Moto 3 at all at this circuit, you know how bad it is to be at the front of the queue when you're going down that front straight, that back straight. Sorry, just after the legendary Aragon wall. Whew. So anyway, Matt Double will lead the way as they head down through the reverse corkscrew. We're going to see a lot of different lines through the reverse corkscrew, that's for sure. In fact, Matt Double is just starting to stretch out a little bit from Arasaka, so maybe Arasaka's strategy not quite working for him. At the end of the day, it's all about putting in the faster time, whether you've got a slipstream or not. Sometimes having a driver in front of you giving you a slipstream, it actually interferes with the rest of your lap with aero disturbance, and maybe just maybe the driver in front of you is not as fast as you, and you end up having to lose a lot more pace through the corners than what you like. So maybe Matt Double's got the right idea. I think 1 year with Moto 3 it was who was he? Romano Fenati. He went out just by himself, didn't have a slipstream, and he put it on pole position because everyone was too busy carving each other up in qualifying. Well, anyway, Matt Double is the man who will start the charge down the front straight and start the clock. And he will be the first man to set a time. So, have we got our sectors up? Here we go. So, sectors right here. So, we'll keep an eye on that on the tower to the left-hand side there. So, rough guide for you. If it's green, they've done a personal best. If it's purple, session best. And if it's yellow, they haven't actually improved on their own time or the session best. So the last car on track is in fact Dravelmere. We got people trading positions a little bit further back. I can see names swapping up and down on the timing tower. You see Double taking a much faster mid-corner speed through the first part of the reverse corkscrew. I think that sort of compromises his run down this long sweeper. So we'll wait and see how that translates at the end of the lap. It's looking like a pretty tidy lap otherwise. He just grabs enough curb there, not too much. Oh, he has to get out of the throttle big time there. And he just grabs that curb nicely on the inside. Oh, he's had to hesitate on the steering. He didn't want to hit that massive button that's right in the middle of no man's land there at on that left-hander. And we'll actually have a look at see what speeds they're pulling down this back straight. 283, 284, nearly 290 kilometres per hour as Double tips it into this hairpin. Probably going to see a little bit of carnage. Not too much, but a little bit of carnage in race 1 at the hairpin. But we'll wait and see. We'll see Saluna and Loic Monia actually trading spots. And Matt Double sets the first flying lap, a 150.8. He can do better than that because Mashiro Arasaka sets a 150.2. Bradley 53.4. He immediately gets shuffled down to 5th by Monia, Bradley. And now Matt Southwell up into 3rd. So Matt Southwell into 3rd, Ryan Ford slides into 5th, immediately pushed down to 6th by Lee Walker up to 4th, Lama up to 2nd. Wait and see Chris Nipris, he jumps up into 4th, not too far off the back of Mashiro's son. So that's pretty good. Wait to see what Dravilmir can put down. In fact, Mashiro Osaka already in pit lane getting new tyres. Dravilmir only in 7th place at the end of that first lap. So the strong driver at the moment is Mashiro Arasaka. We'll keep an eye on Matt Double. Haven't seen any sector times pop up for him. I wonder if we actually do have sectors. May not be sectors on this circuit. Right on board again with Matt Double as he runs pretty wide. He's got to be careful. The word is that the AstroTurf is incredibly slippery. And again, Double, he just turns in a little bit too early. That's going to cost him valuable pace down this back straight. Also, not having any slipstream is going to hurt him as well. He is improving, though, as he trips the first sector for some reason just before this long back straight. I've no idea why, but anyway. Back down to first gear, sorry. Gets the car rotated. You see Lama is not improving. No one really improving. Chris Nipris is improving, but he's down on Arasaka's time still. His Double will cross the line first with a 150.2. That puts him up into 3rd. So we'll check on Chris Nipris as he fires it down this back straight, I should say. Dravilmir, he's set a purple sector. So he's just behind Chris Nipris at the other end of the straight. Nipris wide of the apex. It's going to hurt him a little bit. And Lee Walker up into 4th place. So Ryan Ford of 50.5. Sorry, Lee Walker with a 50.3. Nipris 50.4. So not able to improve that time by. We're going to look at Dravilmir as he crosses the line. He goes top with a 149.8. So Dravilmir, we're told you to keep an eye on this guy. He will always work his way to the front. Try and tune in with Daniel Saluna as he tips it through the... is that the reverse corkscrew? It is the reverse corkscrew. Dravilmir, a great lap. First man into the 49s tonight. We see Saluna really running it wide onto the exit curb there. And we're seeing a different line here for Daniel Saluna. While everyone else is more out to the right-hand side of the circuit, Saluna is track sacrificing. So perhaps Saluna just maybe getting practice in to make sure that no one sends a dive bomb on him into that left-hander. And he is not going to improve this lap at least. But Loic Monia, he is improving big time here. He is only 0.2 off of Dravilmir's time. So we're looking at a 150, at least a low 150 for Loic. Gets over the curb, out of the hairpin, nicely done. Gets good drive onto the front straight, and he will stop the clock with a 150.188. So Loic Monia up onto the front row provisionally. He pushes Arasaka and Lama down. Can't see anyone else on a flyer at the moment. Quickly try and find someone eventually. We'll tune in with Matt Southwell. Delta's not looking real flash. I'd say he's just come out of pit lane. He must have just come out of pit lane for sure. Well, we'll wait and see as he tips it onto the main straight. Yep. So everyone out on an outlap at the moment except for Ryan Ford, who's 2/10 down, although he's picked up a lot of time, got much better drive out of the reverse corkscrew this lap. And now up towards the wall. Not really improving at the moment, and that is not going to help. A 150.4 by Matt Southwell, but that puts him up to 8th. I'm going to check something because this... So there are the gaps, and, well, less than a second covering the top 10. Bradley with some work to do, but this is going to be a really, really close race tonight. I'm super excited, actually. I mean, I'm always super excited, let's be honest. Ryan Ford not going to improve this lap. Check on Dravomir, see how he's scurrying along. Keep an eye on those sector times for you. Rather annoying that there's only one sector line, unfortunately. You see Drav just tip it round, nice and smooth. He's actually still on his outlap, so never mind to that. I'll tell you what, the competition is so strong here in GT Club. Like those gaps are just amazing. So you got 2/10 between Dravomir and Loic Mania, 3/10 then for Arasaka and Lama. 4/10 for Double and Walker, 5/10 for Nippers and Southwell. So, I'm kind of liking that. That's aesthetically pleasing. For me, that is aesthetically pleasing. No one really improving. Southwell half a second down on his own, well, on Dravomir's time, and not really improving on his own time, so he crosses the line, 151.193. Try and keep an eye, surely there's someone on a flyer at the moment. See Matt double out of pit lane. And now Mashiro-san, he puts himself back onto the front row. Oh, a 149.785. I think it's got to be faster than a 149.7, Rook. Really need Mashiro-san to pull his finger out, or maybe at least Drav. Like, let's check in on Drav. How is he going? Oh, here we go. Here's a 10th up on his own time. So, purple sector for Dravomir. He is absolutely flying in the gym's track limits for Ford Focus. He's just got to get these last few corners right. Dangerous Saluna improving to a 152.3. As Dravomir just gets it nicely out of the hairpin. Doesn't use all the space. Seeing a lot of people using all the track space. But Dravomir just keeping it nice and tight on the exit. And we'll see what he stops the clock at. It's 149.732. I think I'm going to be keeping your points, Rook. Unless someone can go significantly faster. Keep an eye on Drav. He's not that far off his own best. Less than a 10th. He tips it in. that car is rotating perfectly for Dravelmere. He doesn't quite get the apex though. On the way up to the reverse corkscrew, we'll actually jump on board with him. Oh, a little bit of push in the middle of the corner there for Drav, and that's going to hurt him. See, Chris Nipris has binned it. Name lining up red there. Dravelmere driving so hard. Trying to get the best run possible. He doesn't quite get it. He's still up by 0.067 of a second. So it's not over yet. But he's down by a tenth on his own time. As the checkered flag is out now. And Ryan Ford onto the front row, 150.024. So Ryan Ford provisionally on pole, and Dravelmere is going to abort this lap. Lieutenant Lama with a 149.786, so the times are starting to come in now. We'll check on Matt Double where he is. We may see a sub 149.7 yet. Oh, Doubly's just grabbed that little button on the inside of the curb. Don't know what that is actually, but Double will stop the clock. It's a 150.3. Check in on Bradley. I don't think he's going to improve. He does a 50.406 and actually sets a purple sector too. But that is that for qualifying. So, sorry, Rook. I'm keeping your points, mate. They're mine. They are mine. Right, let's run through the qualifying results. Absolutely nothing in it. Dravelmere on the front row. Next to him will be Lieutenant Lama. Only 0.05 seconds between those two. Ryan Ford and Mashiro-san off of row number 2. Row 3, Lorik Mania and Lee Walker. Matt Double and Bradley will start off of row 4. Then we have the two 1/6 motorsport cars of Chris Nipris and Matthew Southwell off of row 5. Over the page, we then have Daniel Saluna starting off 11th by himself. And he is in chat. Qualifying is my practice. You know what? That's good enough for me. I do that as well. So as we wait for the race server to kick off, let's get a brand new prediction. You know, I'm seeing JR Drives in the chat. Justin, what are you doing? You're supposed to be racing, man. What's going on? While we wait for Justin, as I've singled him out. But Steve Drew is also in chat as well. What are you two doing? You should be racing. Anyway, let's start a prediction. Are we going to have a clean turn 1? Personally, I think we are going to have a clean turn 1. It's been clean all season long. So, why wouldn't it be clean now? Oh, we've got a few people saying no. Zero faith. Scooney. No, hang on. No. Scooney, you're not allowed to do that. You're racing. So I'm glad that Justin has got faith in his drivers. Going with, yes, we'll have a clean turn 1. I'm just circulating. That's not the spirit. That is not the spirit at all, Scooney. we're still waiting for the server to start up again. I better come up with a bit of a prediction who I'm liking at the moment for the race win. It's hard to go past Rav, but can he keep that pace up? Of course, just a reminder, we have got a 50-minute race number 1 and then a 20-minute race number 2. I've also just noticed that I've got the weirdest tan line. Look at that. That is a weird tan line. It actually stops there. My chin is so big, it is shading this part of my neck. I'll tell you right now. Honestly. Honestly. To chinfinity and beyond, honestly. So anyway, God, who are we gonna pick for race win? Honestly, because it's really tight at the top. Lieutenant Lama could just he's a driver who's just come out of left field, put it on pole position, less than a 10th off of Dravilmir's time. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting as our server is now live. Very good. So we're going to jump into the server. Don't forget, folks, if you're loving what you're seeing, if you want to see more, hit the follow button. Hit the subscribe button. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, share. Helps us in the algorithm. I hear Chris Nipris did well in practice. Yeah, not so well in qualifying. He is down in 9th place next to his teammate Matt Southwell. And let's get our fake drone camera, because I know that Steve Duro is a little bit triggered by this. He did send me a link for a drone camera mod, but unfortunately, apparently you need a controller. And I do not have a controller. So, yeah. You get to deal with the half-assed drone cam. Bit of a shame, but yeah. Oh boy. Let's give you a full screen of what is happening on the grid so far. Looks like we have everyone in the server now, ready to go racing. I think everyone is eager to get on with it. I know I'm eager to get on with it, so Dravilmir off pole position. Next to him is Lieutenant Lama. Then off of row 2, a great performance from Ryan Ford early on in the night. He starts next to the hard-charging Mashiro Arasaka. Loic Mania off of row number 3 next to him will be Lee Walker. I'm glad I'm getting used to these liveries now. Matt Double is going to be disappointed with this qualifying effort. Next to him will be Bradley in the Rainbow Paddle Pop car. Then we have the 216 Motorsport guys. Chris Nipris in car 61 off of the 9th position, and then Matt Southwell off of 10th in the number 63, and then off the back by himself it is Daniel Saluna. Good luck, Scooney. Have fun. Wish me luck. I'm coming last. Mate, as long as you're having fun, what does it matter? We are set for a start. 30 seconds to go on the countdown clock. Are we going to have a clean turn 1? Is Dravilmir going to just drive away in this race? Are we going to see a dark horse come out of nowhere? Where will Matt Double end up? I think Matt Double is going to be one to keep an eye on. He's way back there. I think he's out of position. Anyway, we are about to find out. 6 seconds left on the clock. We have the lights lighting up. 6 lights on. 6 lights out. We are away and racing. It's a great start from Dravilmir. He actually gets a brilliant jump over Lieutenant Lama. Ryan Ford almost getting the jump on Lama. And we almost have a clean start. It is Matt Double who gets turned around by Bradley. So guess what? We did not have a clean start to this race. Bit of a shame, but close enough. Dravomir takes the lead. He is starting to streak away a little bit. 7/10 the gap between himself and Lieutenant Lama, although misses the apex by a country mile for turn number 5, I want to say. One of the first corners that you actually turn left on. So still having cold tyres. Of course, no tyre blankets in this series as they tip it into the reverse corkscrew for the first time. Lee Walker's had a good start. We have a good battle here. Matt Southwell and Bradley, they're side by side coming out of the reverse corkscrew. This is a good chance for Matt Double to try and get up the inside of Saluna. Not quite. They're going to have to stay line astern behind Bradley. Bradley having a pretty good run. He's just fallen behind Chris Nipris, though. Oh, Southwell. I thought Southwell for everything was going into the back of Bradley there. Are we going to see a dive bomb from Southwell? No, he thinks better of it. They're just starting to lose touch from the back of Chris Nipris, but here we go. Now we're going to see the slipstream in action for Matt Southwell. Gets a bad run onto the back straight, but watch this. The slipstream for Matt Southwell should kick in right about now. Fortunately, I'd say for Bradley, he's got the slipstream of Chris Nipris, who's got the slipstream of Walker, who's got the slipstream of Mania. Mania all over the back of Ryan Ford. Saluna and Matt Double's trade positions. They're still side by side though. Oh, Saluna and Double getting over on the track limits almost. But Saluna now down in 11th. Matt Double, he's got a long way to make up. Oh, look at this. Mania up the inside of Ryan Ford. He's got to be careful. Lee Walker is waiting to pounce. Behind him will be Chris Nipris as well. And Ryan Ford, he is making this Monster Energy Ford Focus wider than an F-150. Supposed to be Ford Focuses. Oh, Ford wide. Ford is under pressure. He's going to get a bad run. This will give Mania a chance. He may go for the dive bomb here. He thinks about it. Decides against it. Nipris up the inside of Lee Walker. Nipris is showing a lot of aggression. This is great to see from Chris Nipris as they back it into the reverse corkscrew. Ryan Ford runs wide. Oh, this is going to be a really dodgy rejoin. But he does it well. So Ryan Ford drops back to 7th place. He's under attack from Bradley and Matt Southwell. One on each side of him almost. And now Southwell, he's going to go up the centre. He thinks about it. They're going around the outside. Doubles sideways. Matt Southwell runs wide. He may have to give that position back because he exceeded track limits. It's still going on between these guys. Matt Double is in a great position. Southwell runs it in very deep. Bit of a block pass almost. Saluna looking up the inside of Double. Can't quite get it done. And now Double out from behind Ryan Ford's rear wing. He's not going to have a slipstream. Ford will have a slight draft from Matt Southwell in front of him. But Double, last of the late breakers, he moves up into 9th position. Gets the car rotated. Saluna trying to get involved in this battle. He may go for a switchback. Fastest lap of the race for Lieutenant Lama, 50.1. As we're still focusing on this battle. This is for 11th and 10th. So it's not the biggest field that we have seen in this series, but God, we have got quality. Lama is actually doing a great job holding onto the back of Dravomir. Sparks flying from one of the 1-6 cars. I think that was Chris Nipris, as he's still trying to find a way around Lee Walker. Matt Southwell, his teammate, just hanging on to the back of of Bradley's Rainbow Paddle Pop Focus. The field streaks towards the reverse corkscrew one more time. This has been great start to this race. We need to start a new prediction. Who will be higher up at half race distance? Who are we liking? Who do we want to pick on? How about Matt Double? And Bradley. I'll give you guys 2 minutes to think about it. So Who is going to be higher up in the standings at 20 minutes to go? That's half race distance. Will it be Matt Double, this man here, or is it going to be this man here, Bradley? And we still have our mandatory pit stops. In fact, Nipris must have made a mistake because he has fallen into the clutches of Bradley down the back straight. And now Bradley in a 1-6 sandwich. Fastest lap of the race, not quite for Dravelmere, but he does open up that advantage by a 10th. Now we're starting to see purple times all up and down the timing screen. There's a 1:51.7 for Daniel Saluna, fastest lap in the server. So Saluna, not as slow as what he thought he would be. Oh, Bradley runs it in very deep. He's going to be vulnerable now to Matt Southwell. Right on board with Matt Southwell. So he's trying to find a way past Bradley. Runs it in a little bit too deep. Bradley runs it in even deeper. He runs wide, but unfortunately, Southwell just getting a little bit of wheel spin. Tips it in, angles it in for the reverse corkscrew. We can see how much this car is moving around for Southwell. Might want to move that brake bias forward a little bit. As now this battle will settle down just slightly. But I want to have a look at this battle up here. Lieutenant Lama here is keeping the pressure on. Just as I swap to him, he makes a mistake onto the back straight, and that is going to hurt him. He will lose the slipstream down this long back straight. Although I think he may have actually just gotten it. Yeah, you can see that time is just starting to dip beneath 8/10. Just needs it to be a lot closer than that if he's going to mount a serious challenge against Dravelmere. Dravelmere just settling into a rhythm now. Lama really needs to strike now. He cannot afford to let Dravelmere get into a rhythm. So 50.170, that is the fastest lap of the race for Loic Manea. And we see Arasaka running wide in the background. That's going to help Manea's hopes and dreams of getting onto the podium. Wait and see what happens. The pit stop window is now open. Seeing the battle for sixth is just starting to tighten up. We have Nipris, Bradley and Southwell. They are nose to tail, just following each other's wheel tracks at the moment. Sparks flying from the back of the 61. In fact, I'm only seeing Sparks from the 61 in this race at the moment. Haven't seen many other cars sparking. Nipris will be very, very mindful of this at the moment because Bradley is well within slipstream range. And Bradley is looking pretty racy. He dives up the inside. That is an almighty move. He runs wide. Nipris will just switch back on him. And he will retake the position. Bradley now looking pretty vulnerable to Matt Southwell. Southwell thinking about a bit of a dive bomb into this second reverse corkscrew, but can't quite get it done. And now the slipstream war resumes. Right on board again with Chris Nipris. He's just opened the gap up enough to be safe from another attack from Bradley. Not a good battle at the back of the field with Daniel Saluna and Ryan Ford. Dravelmere now fastest lap of the race at 150.166. He's just getting into that rhythm, and once he gets into that rhythm, it's very hard to break it and beat him. Meanwhile, let's check in with our two back markers. Well, I say back markers, but they are rather quick drivers in their own right. I almost saw Saluna enter that Shadow Realm, or Narnia. But he, in fact, just lets Ryan Ford through at the moment. It's probably smart driving from Saluna. Still got pit stops to make, and it is a very long race. So maybe for Saluna, he can just let Ryan Ford drag him onto the back of Matt Double. Double actually starting to make inroads on Southwell and Bradley. And also, speaking of battles, they're starting to get a little bit tight. We've got Mashiro Arisaka, and he's getting caught by Mania. This is for the last of the podium positions. They head up towards the Aragon wall. Oh, sparks flying. Okay, so there we go. We got sparks coming from other cars, not just Chris Nipris. That is good to know. So, Saku's got enough of a gap at the moment just to hold off Mania. It looks like Arisaka a little bit stronger through some of those tighter corners. Now we've almost got a four-way battle for 6th place. We can just see it in the background there of that shot. Nipris, Bradley, Southwell and Matt Double just sliding into that battle at the moment. So this is good news for Matt Double as those guys continue to fight over 6th. It's also a big help for Lee Walker as Lee Walker does a 50.7 and Nipris in the 151. So yeah, Nipris not able to get those tyres to switch on. It's been a bit of a trend for Chris Nipris. He just can't get these tyres to switch on in the first stint. That leaves him vulnerable to attack in the early stages of the race. We'll quickly just jump back to Matt Southwell. Southwell now runs very wide. Got to be careful of the exit space there. So he tips it in. Look at that car just moving around under brakes. Just mashes that throttle, relying on the traction control to stop the car from rotating quickly. Oh, Nipris runs wide. This might be the chance for Bradley. He is now tucked in tight under the rear wing of the number 61. He is going to go for a launch into the hairpin. You can see it. He's lining it up. Nipris will not defend. He just sidles up beside the 61. Nipris is going to argue. Oh, they touch. Nipris, I think he may have just lost the steering wheel out of his hand there. Contact was a bit rough there, and he actually loses a couple of spots there. Probably should have just let that go and just slid in behind Bradley, but that's okay. He's got pace, and we still have the pit stops to make as well. But that does release Bradley. See if Southwell can go with Bradley, as Bradley seems to have a fair bit of pace on at the moment. Nipris trying to fight back immediately on Matt Double. In fact, Nipris looking for the move already. Goes up the inside of Double. Double chops the nose off. So Nipris just got to reset a little bit and just take a deep breath. As we have just started saying recently, have faith in your pace. Speaking of having faith in your pace, Loic Mania, he is closing up rapidly onto the back of Mashiro Arisaka. Take comfort in your speed. Doesn't really rhyme very well though, Ruka. This is a very fascinating battle that we have got here. Mashiro Arisaka and Loic Mania. These guys were rapid at Circuit Algarve. Sis Arisaka very aggressive on the curb, just coming out of the hairpin there onto the front straight. Mania will maybe think about it. He does dart out, just moving around to the mirror, just trying to keep Arisaka guessing. Maybe put the pressure on, and Arasaka, oh, they both run wide at turn 2. Just here, Manea, just trying to squeeze that little bit of extra throttle a metre earlier, and that's just caused the car to understeer, cost him a little bit of time. Just a smidgen. Oh, big slide, but he saves it. So we start getting closer to half race distance. Arasaka runs wide, Sparks flying off the number 12 Ford Focus. Now, something has happened because the gap between Bradley and Walker was down a fair way. But now it's just opened up again, so maybe a little mistake from Walker and then a mistake from Bradley. That battle is still going on strong for 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. Tell you what, the gap is starting to come down between Lieutenant Lama and Dravelmere for 1st and 2nd. So I wonder if the tyres are just starting to go on the number 3 machine. Quickly check in. In fact, Dravelmere into pit lane. No. Nope, never mind. That was just a camera angle. It is, in fact, Lieutenant Lama who dives into pit lane. So this is going to be interesting. Let's have a look at the pit stop time for Aragon. And he's out of pit lane, gives a big boot full of throttle. And he now trundles down pit lane. He will come out behind Ryan Ford. Daniel Saluna into pit lane as well. So we can see that the pit stop time will be 29.1 seconds. But now Lama's got to be aware he is on freezing cold tyres. And these first laps are super important. You've got to get out without making any mistakes. So if you go out there without making any mistakes, hit your marks, and the driver that you're racing comes into pit lane and comes out and makes mistakes, you're going to close in on him. Let's check in with this battle again. We've got Mashiro Arasaka. He is coming under pressure from Manea again. Arasaka now just starting to settle into a rhythm again. Did lose that rhythm initially when Manea closed in. Oh, Arasaka, you got to be careful. Don't know where those portals to Narnia are on the AstroTurf. It's actually a good way to make sure that track limits are obeyed. If you run off track, you go to Narnia. See the consistency that these guys are having at the moment. Just hitting the same marks every single lap. It takes discipline. Oh, Manea thought about it. He had to pull out of it. I think that was... he just missed his braking marker a little bit. Matt Southwell now into pit lane. So we'll wait and see where Matt Southwell comes out. Oh, Sparks absolutely flying off of Manea's car. I have to say, I'm loving the new CSP update. Didn't used to get Sparks, now we do. Loving it. Go back on board now with Loic Manea. I want to just double check what pace Dravelmere has got at the moment. So he's actually upped his pace. So his last lap was a 50.8, but this lap he is on track to do a low 50 again. So geez, Dravelmere just in a world of his own at the moment. And he's got to be careful. He's got to keep an eye on the pace of Lieutenant Lama. As we see a change in position. Loic Manea makes the pass on Mashiro Arasaka. By the way, we have to give a prediction outcome. So, those of you who bet on Bradley, you've had a good night. Who did put that money on? Ruka. Ah, good on you. You got some channel points back. All right, let's start a new prediction as Mania immediately into pit lane after. No, sorry, Arasaka going into pit lane. So Loic Mania takes the lead of this race. Bradley into pit lane, double into pit lane, Nipris into pit lane. So the pit stops are starting to fly. Let's make this one interesting. We're going to go Ryan Ford. And we'll go Matt Southwell. Why not? So who's going to be finishing higher at the end of this race? Is it going to be Ryan Ford? Is it going to be Matt Southwell? Wow, I have to say, Matt Double is still in pit lane. What has happened to... that's not normal. That is not normal in the slightest. Oh, what is going on? He has had a serious hardware issue. Because that steering wheel is full. Matt, if you are, has he had a glitch? That is weird. That is very weird. There you go. He's reset it, and now he's into it. We may just note that down, and we'll have a look at that in the replay. We'll have a look at that in the replay at the end of the night. How to crash? Yeah, I don't know that there'd be that much detail in the crash, though. Now, Ryan Ford is in front of Lieutenant Lama at the moment. I don't think Ford has come in for a pit stop. In fact, he is diving for pit lane now. So he is looking for an overcut. And he is actually the man that we're actually making prediction on. It's Ryan Ford versus this man here, Matt Southwell. Matt Southwell now in front of him. So Bradley's had a really bad pit stop as well. He has dropped behind Matt Southwell. Southwell's had a really strong pit stop. He is caught right up to the back of Lee Walker, or maybe Lee Walker's just had a shocking pit stop. I don't know. I wish we could have pit stop times. That's Southwell flying the flag for the 1-6 Motorsport team. Oh, Southwell gets a bit of a tank slap going on in the reverse corkscrew. And we see that Ryan Ford has come out behind Daniel Saluna, so the undercut is definitely the way to go in this race on this circuit. And Matt Double has DNF'd tonight in race number 1, so not his best night. Look out the back of Matt Southwell's car at the paddle pop, the rainbow paddle pop. That is Bradley. Now Mania sets the fastest lap of the race at 49.9. So Loic Mania, he is flying. He's trying to get as much of a gap. He needs that gap to be over 29 seconds. He's only got 5 minutes to do it. I don't think he's going to manage it. Oh, Bradley in very deep into the hairpin. He almost ran into the back of Matt Southwell. That's going to cost him on the exit as Mashiro Arasaka sets his personal best. Great shot of the Aragon wall. Tell you what, Chris Nipris will be buying into this battle as well. We'll check the lap time for Lee Walker of 1:51.1. 151 versus a 151.2 for Southwell. So the pace is pretty good between these two at the moment. Although making mistakes like that is not going to help Matt Southwell. It will help Bradley. Now Bradley onto the back of Southwell. This is the second time that Bradley is facing the back of a 1-6 Focus. And in fact, he gets the move done into the reverse corkscrew, but Southwell, last of the late breakers, just backs it in, gets it in too deep, and he gets a little bit of a hip and shoulder from a switchback from Bradley. So Bradley now takes 6th place. Good bit of racecraft there from Bradley. Read that situation quite perfectly. Southwell just probably a little bit under pressure. Just made that little mistake, and that was all that Bradley needed to get in front. And now Chris Nipris goes up the inside of Matt Southwell. So Southwell, I don't know what's happened. Maybe he just hasn't got the tyre pressures right. But he is now all over the back of his teammate. Heading down the back straight at Aragon. Are there team orders? Indeed there are. Southwell, he's not... He's a smart operator, Matt Southwell. He knows not to take out the teammate. Oh, that's a good panoramic view of the pit building. Wait and see if Nipris can close the gap onto Bradley, because Bradley is starting to... Well, he's holding the gap steady between himself and Lee Walker. As I say that, the gap starts to come down between Nipris and Bradley. And the gap is extending between Lee Walker and Bradley. So, Nipris, this second stint is working out for him. He's definitely on the pace. Loic Mania is starting to lose time to Dravelmere, so Mania has seen the best of those tyres. He may want to jump into pit lane very, very quickly. I don't think he'll get another lap. I'm predicting that Loic Mania will dive into pit lane this lap. And he is diving into pit lane right now. And does he hit his marks? He certainly does. So we'll see what his pit stop time is. Now we're looking at about 29 seconds. Now I think he's going to come out after Mashiro Arasaka, although he's already moving and trundling down pit lane. Dravelmere will go by him. We'll see if he can come out in front of Lieutenant Lama. No, he does not. But he's going to be on freezing cold tyres. Mashiro Sani is on warm tyres as well. And he comes out just in front of Arasaka. So Mania holds on to third for now, but he is going to be on cold tyres. Or is he? He may not have taken tyres. He may have just taken fuel. No, he's run wide. He is very wide. He is searching for his track pass to get back on track. That's how wide Loic was. But he now surrenders third position to Mashiro Arasaka. So the cold tyres catching out even some of the best drivers in this league, or at least on this server. The gap is closed down between Lama and Arasaka as well, so we may have a battle for second place on our hands before the end of this race. 10 minutes left on the clock. The driver in the box seat for pole position is Daniel Saluna. As we reverse the top 10. I do believe that race 2 will also be at night, so that's going to be fun to watch. I'll quickly join our leader. 10 minutes to go. It is Dravelmere So he stops the clock of 150.2. So Dravelmir, he is in the zone at the moment. He is just he is an absolute metronome. No problems whatsoever for him. With drivers like Dravelmir, you have to beat him up early. You have to put it up the inside of him at turn 1. You have to put it up the inside of him on some time on lap 1 or the next lap. If you're within half a second of him, you have to go for it. Otherwise, he gets into a rhythm quickly, and once he's in that rhythm, you just don't see which way he's gone. Like, it's harsh. It sounds horrible, but yeah, you do. You need to beat him up a little bit. Make it clean, but just got to keep attacking. Otherwise, this is what happens. He gets into a rhythm, and he is just a metronome. Like Mania on much fresher tyres. In fact, we'll have a look at their tyre age at the moment. So Mania, obviously not on 16-lap-old tyres, and Dravelmir is not on 6-lap-old tyres. I think we'll find that that is broken, so we won't use that again. Here we go, Mania into the slipstream. Arasaka is going to defend. So he's going to force Loic to go the long way round. And, well, the slipstream just too strong for Mania. Better drive onto the back straight. And he just gets the position done. Now Dravelmir setting his fastest lap at 50.0. And now Loic Mania will try and chase down Lieutenant Lama. Loic Mania, 49.3, fastest lap of the race. So Mania is into qualifying mode, really. He's got the tyres, he's got the grip. He can do this. I reckon he will at least get Lama before the end of this race. As Saluna sets his personal best on the server. So Saluna starting to get faster. Starting to get onto the race pace as well. No practice for him. And look at this, Mania. He is already on the back of Lieutenant Lama. He will have the slipstream coming down the back straight. This is not looking good for Lieutenant Lama. We'll see how wide this Martini focus can be. Although big oversteer moment for Lama. And that will just bring Mania even closer to him. Big oversteer again for Lama. Late apex for Mania. He will have the drive. He will have the slipstream. Better tyres. Lama will white line it down the back straight. I think it's going to be futile effort for him because Mania will outbrake him going into the hairpin. Can he pull it up? He cannot. Oh, he only just pulls it up. A little bit of a wobble there for Mania, but now Loic Mania takes second place as we head into 6 minutes to go, but Lama is not taking this line down. He's going to go for the outside now. He fires it up the outside. He's on the wrong side of the track. Can he keep it on the track? He can, but Mania will hold on to second. Valiant fight back for Lama there, but I think it is going to be a futile effort for Lama. Mania on much fresher tyres and having much better race pace as well. Ruka in chat talking about Dravelmir. He seems good at time trials, but maybe not in traffic. Couldn't get around Chris the other night. He's talking about Chris Nipris there, and well, Chris Nipris with the reputation of being able to make anything super wide. I'm not surprised he couldn't get around Chris Nipris. Let's be honest. Now Mashiro Arasaka, it's his turn now to line up behind Lieutenant Lama, and he is in slipstream range. So the early pit stop for Lama has not really paid off for him. Jesus, Arasaka is struggling with the aero wash. We see another big slide there for Llama. I reckon the rear tyres are absolutely cooked on this focus of Lieutenant Llama. He's done enough this time by to hold off Arasaka heading into the hairpin. I thought we might have seen a little bit of a dive for Arasaka. Ooh, a bit of a late lunge as Llama runs in deep. Now we've got 4 laps left to run. That's roughly 2 laps for these drivers. Llama he is under so much pressure, and he knows it. Arasaka just sneaks it up the inside, bit of hip and shoulder, and now Mashiro Arasaka gets back onto the podium at the expense of Lieutenant Llama. So I think he just caught Llama napping there. Certainly was an unexpected move from Mashiro-san. And, well, that is honestly power pass of the race so far. So definitely note that down. Definitely. We'll definitely go through that in deeper analysis so that you guys can actually understand what happened there. That was absolute textbook from Mashiro. He really did catch Lieutenant Llama by surprise there, but I think Llama maybe wrong tyre pressures because he is struggling. Look at the understeer, and he is off. He might become vulnerable to Lee Walker if he is not careful. Honestly, if I was Lieutenant right now, I would be just settling for 4th. You're not going to keep up with Arasaka. You're definitely not going to keep up with Mania. Just settle for 4th. Monitor the gap between yourself and Llama. Got a decent battle shaping up a little bit further back between Bradley, Nipris, and Southwell. I'll definitely keep an eye on that as we count down the final few minutes of this race. 49 won by Loic Mania. He is on a flyer at the moment. Loic Mania, he's on a charge. He pitted with about 10 minutes left to run. 49-1 versus what was Drav's last time, 50.1. There's just not enough time for Loic Mania to catch Dravelmere, but it's been a brilliant performance nonetheless from Loic. It's going to be tough to pick a driver of the race. I mean, we got Bradley doing a brilliant job in 6th place, but he's now starting to get caught slowly by Chris Nipris in the number 61. See Nipris much stronger out of the corners. That's just Nipris's strong suit in racing. He tends to sacrifice a bit of entry speed, but he gets that exit pace so well. Now Nipris within a second with a minute left. He'll only have 1 lap to get this pass done on Bradley and get into 6th. May even create a hole for his teammate Matt Southwell, who's gone with him in the last few minutes. Ruka, Bunnings power pass, mate. I am open to any business that wants to have their name as the power pass. Just saying. And you can email your submissions to gorace at _events@outlook.com. Send me money. Oh, Bradley running it in very deep. Just got to relax here. He's got the time. You know what? That is a fair play there, Ruka. So, yeah, from now on we are dubbing pit lane, pit lane. So yeah, that is fair. We are on the final lap now. Our man Dravelmere has been untouchable in this race. A late charge from Loic Mania there in the number 23 Focus. A little bit too late though. Maybe left that pit stop a little too late. Yeah, come in a little bit earlier, I reckon he would have had a chance at attacking Drav. Drav. Oh, this guy he is an alien. He is a bit of a freak as well. Put him in anything and he is quick. And he keeps in track limits, in case you were wondering. He heads into the hairpin for the last time. There will be no issues for Dravelmere. The metronome has been ticking since lap 1. Super consistent drive from Dravelmere, and he takes first blood for the night. Now Dravelmere, the winner of race 1, ahead of Loic Mania. Mashiro Arisaka will come home in 3rd. We'll check in on the battle for 6th. I think it's pretty well going to go the way of Bradley. So he'll hold on to 6th ahead of Chris Nipris. Ryan Ford, he's going to finish home behind Matt Southwell, but let's just head over to the finish line so we can watch everyone cross the line. Ryan Ford, he's going to be disappointed with that performance. After starting off of row number 2 and finishing in 9th, now we just have a bit of a wait for Daniel Cycluna. Cycluna in the box seat for race 2, though he will start off pole position. So let's run through the final standings for tonight. Dravelmere, the winner, ahead of Loic Mania. Mashiro Arisaka in 3rd, Lieutenant Lama in 4th, Lee Walker rounding out the top 5. Then we have Bradley in 6th, Chris Nipris 7th, Matt Southwell in 8th. Ryan Ford, again, as we were saying, disappointing performance for him. He'll be gutted with that. He had a strong qualifying, putting it up on 3rd, and he ends up 9th. I think he just got a little bit beaten up on that first lap. Daniel Cycluna down in 10th place, and then the single DNF of Matt Double, which we will have to work out what on earth happened. So we're going to jump out of the server, and we'll see if we can't get a quick replay happening. So let's get my glorious face back up. So we'll try and jump into the replay quickly. And try and work out what has actually happened to Matt Double. Hopefully you don't miss the start of the race. But, gee, we've got to pick driver of the race for that one. Also have to hand out some channel points. So, I'm loving this because I believe it was Ruko who gave out 200 points. And it will go to Justin Rediex. Also, shout out to Justin Rediex. Happy birthday, mate. That was for the other day. Here we are. Matt Double. Let's see. We can work out what has gone wrong in his... Oh, hang on. What? So he's come in very, very late. Whoa! Okay, so he has gone for a trip to Narnia, and that has ended up damaging his car. So, yeah, guess what? Clipping that. So that answers that question. So a bit of a shame there for Matt Double, but well, it's just going to be a straight fight in race number 2. But, oh well, we'll have to pick driver of the race now. Who are we liking for driver of the race? I mean, I think Loic Mania's charge at the end was quite heroic, but just left that a little bit too late. But then Lee Walker did pretty well as well. I have to say. It was very quiet from Lee. No real huge mistakes. He just kept on ticking along. It was lovely to watch. Anyway, time for a new prediction while we're talking about driver of the race. Are we going to have a clean turn 1 in race number 2? Earn some channel points by making the right prediction. Just saying. Gee, driver of the race though, for race number 1. It's too easy to give it to Drav. He was just untouchable in that race. So Bradley, yeah, you know what? I think Bradley does deserve a driver of the race. He's certainly improved big time. Oh, that reminds me, we're supposed to look at Arasaka's pass on Lieutenant Lama. It was I thought it was absolutely glorious. He just absolutely played Lama into that mistake, but I mean, very easy to do. Very easy to do. No, we might do that a little bit later. Any other nominations for driver of the race? Okay, we have a server up. That is good to know. And then we will get rid of my face, because otherwise I will forget to change that. Right, let's have a look at the starting grid for race number 2. It is Daniel Saluna and Ryan Ford off of row number 1. Row 2 will be Matt Southball and Chris Nipris. Funny how those two guys are always side by side. Bradley and Lee Walker off of row 3, Lieutenant Lama and Mashiro Arasaka off of row 4, row 5, Loic Mania and Dravelmir, and then off the back will be Matt Double. Matt Double will be an interesting driver to keep an eye on. He is definitely out of position, and he is having a night to forget, really. Well, he's down in 3rd place on the standings. We have someone blasting their horn. Was that you, Mashiro? I'm 99% sure it was either Mashiro or Dravelmir. Anyway, we are set for a start. Daniel Saluna off the front row. Next to him will be Ryan Ford in the Monster Energy Focus. And we have the two 1/6 Motorsport cars off of row number 2. Bradley and Lee Walker off of row 3, row 4. We have Lieutenant Lama and Mashiro-san, and Loic Mania Dravelmir off of row 5, and then Matt Double off of 11th by himself. So we are getting set for a start to this race. Let me just actually bring you a picture there. In fact, we might just go a little bit lower so we don't hit that gantry. Anyway, here we go. Lights are starting up. We've got 6 lights on, 6 lights out, we are away and racing. Saluna lights them up off the pole position. Nippers going straight for the inside to cover off his teammate Matt Southwell. In fact, Nippers going for the inside on Ryan Ford. Oh, they're sideways, but they're all going through cleanly. And Ryan Ford keeps going in the right direction. Saluna going wide on cold tyres. So, oh, great start to this race. And I'm going to get rid of Stereo Carcel. Never mind. And I think Matt Southwell has just taken his teammate around the outside at turn number 3. They tip it into the first left-hander. Bradley going very wide, super wide. He falls off the track. He's going to drop in behind. He's going to go to the back of the field. By the way, clean turn 1. I'll take those points, Ruka. That'll teach you for having no faith in the GT Club boys. As we have Nippers and Southwell side by side. The 216 guys, I think they touch. And Nippers and Southwell are still side by side. I think Southwell will hold on. Oh, the team orders. What a team orders in 1-6. Oh, they're still going at it. Nippers going for the switchback as they head up the hill towards the next braking zone for the left-hander. This is what Ryan Ford and Daniel Saluna want to see. Arasaka up the inside. He takes 2 in 1 corner. So Mashiro Arasaka goes from 6th up to 4th. Brilliant start. Brilliant pass there from Arasaka. That is going to be power pass again already. Oh, look at the battling going on here. Lee Walker dropping down to the back. He's going to fall in behind Dravelmere. Munea trying to pick his way through the field. Matt Doubles had a great start. He's up to 8th position. He's gone with Munea at the start of this race. He's actually in front of his championship rival, Dravelmere. But he's losing ground to his other championship rival of Mashiro Arasaka. Now Saluna and Ford, their nose to tail still. Oh, Double. Oh, Double gives a little hip and shoulder to Munea. And this will help Dravelmere through. Oh, Double's wide. Double's off. And he goes back behind Bradley. So Matt Double back to where he started. He's going to be very frustrated with that. Shorter race too. Saluna and Ford still battling away. Saluna now holding off Ford. This is helping Matt Southwell and Arasaka. And Nippers is actually going with Arasaka. So we're going to have a 5-way battle for the lead very, very soon. I think Ford is starting to show a little bit of impatience, I think. He thinks about the dive bomb. Oh, Saluna wide. He misses his braking marker by a good couple of meters. This will bring Ryan Ford up beside him as they head towards the reverse corkscrew. Ford up the inside. He takes the position away from Saluna. Saluna will go for the switchback. That has allowed Southwell into it. Oh, Lama, he almost went into the back of Nippers there in the reverse corkscrew. So now Ford, can he hold off Saluna? We know that Saluna is super aggressive. Now look at the back of Ford's car. Southwell is having a brilliant drive. He is all over the back of Saluna. We may see a podium yet for Southwell. He's got to hold off Arasaka first, though. And then hope like hell that Dravelmere and Munea don't come flying through the field. Look at Southwell. Look at Arasaka. He's got so much straight line speed. And Southwell just lets the position go. Oh, we see Dravelmere and Munea battling away. Dravelmere up the inside, but he can't get the move done. I think actually Munea made the move around the outside of Dravelmere. So Munea up to 7th. And now Arasaka goes past Saluna. Maybe a bit of smart driving from Saluna. He just let Arasaka through, but Southwell ran the outside. Does he touch? No, he doesn't touch, but Saluna's still there as they tip it into turn number 3. Southwell, he sticks around the outside and he holds on to the podium position. This will bring Nippers into the battle. And Lieutenant Lama. And this is going to help Munea and Dravelmere. Oh, a little bit too much curb there for Nippers and Saluna and Lama. That has brought Munea onto the back of these guys. Had the right camera at the first button push. Hate it when I do that. Now Arasaka, he is closing the gap down to Ryan Ford. Oh, look at Lama. He is just absolutely blowtorching the back of the number 61, melting that rear bar. Melting his own front bar with the flames shooting out the back of the 61. And now Nipris, he gets good drive. He may be able to hold off Llama, as he's got the slipstream from Cycluna in front. But I think Llama's going to go for the dive into the hairpin. He will pull out of the slipstream, but he backs out of it. Mania will pass Llama, and he pulls out. Oh no, he hits Nipris! And Nipris manages to hold on to it and stay in 5th place. That has given Cycluna all the breath of air he needed, as now Llama runs very deep, and that will maybe cost him a position. Dravelmir up the inside of Mania. He's trying to go through the hole that Llama has made, but Mania around the outside, and now Llama very wide. This will allow Dravelmir through. Dravelmir sweeps in front of Llama. And now Lee Walker's trying to find a way up the inside of Llama. So all that started at the hairpin with Nipris and Mania coming together. And now Double up the inside of Bradley. Double has taken 10th place away from Bradley. And now actually I've missed the pass for the lead because of all that action down in the midfield. But Mashiro Arasaka has taken the lead and he is starting to bolt. He obviously knew what was wrong with the car, tyre pressure wise, from race number 1, and he's adjusted accordingly. Ford and Southwell now, they're going to be locked in battle pretty soon. Southwell running very wide, that'll cost him drive down the back straight. So Southwell, he's just got to settle down and just have faith in his face. But Mania, he's got the slipstream on Nipris. I don't know what it is about this car, but it is quick in a straight line. And he darts up the inside of the 61, and he gets the move done. Chris Nipris falls back to 6th place, and he's now got Dravelmir closing in on the back of him. 49.8 for Mashiro Arasaka. Everyone in the 50s. Oh, Nipris very close to the back of Mania there. Missed his braking marker. Don't know how he didn't plant it into the back of the 23. And now this will put Dravelmir onto the back of him. So this is basically round 20, I suppose, between Nipris and Dravelmir. Can Dravelmir find a way past this time? Got that big long straight at the end of the lap. I reckon he will have, I think he will be able to make the move. Now Southwell starting to close back onto the back of Ryan Ford. We're going to keep focusing on this battle. Dravelmir, he and Nipris, they're becoming old sparring partners in a way in GT Club. Can't think of a night that these guys haven't been battling away with each other. Somehow they always find a way onto the back of each other. Now Nipris with much better drive, but Dravelmir will have the slipstream. And here comes the Drav Energy car. Pulls out of the slipstream. Nipris will have to let him have it. Cycluna's just been passed by Loet Mania. And Nipris will just tuck in behind Dravelmir. Smart driving from Nipris. Nothing he could do without the slipstream from Loet Mania. Mania now fast lap of the race at 49.5. So Mashiro Arasaka has made the most of that good start. He's starting to make hay while the sun shines. This battle here is starting to look really good. Got Ryan Ford and Matt Southwell. Southwell, I reckon Southwell's looking a little bit better at the moment. Although he doesn't get good drive off of that corner, heading towards the reverse corkscrew. And Southwell will have his mirrors filled by Loic Mania before too long. So we've gone past half race distance. I haven't actually started a prediction for who's going to finish higher. So we're going to leave Ryan Ford, but then we're going to go Loic Mania. Ryan Ford and Loic Mania. Who's going to finish higher? Actually, I should have made it Arasaka. As Ryan Ford runs it in very deep into the hairpin. He does manage to get a late apex, which gives him better drive off the hairpin. Got 2 minutes to think about that, by the way, but make your predictions. Now Ford and Southwell. Southwell closing right up onto the back of him in the braking zone, but well, it's not really going to plan for Southwell just yet. He just can't find a chink in the armour of Ford's armour. God, said armour twice. And this is just inviting Mania onto the back of these guys. Oh, look at how aggressive the Frenchman is. As Dravomir has just taken Daniel Saluna. See the mid-corner oversteer from Matt Southwell. Can Loic Mania make the pass stick? He's got to do it cleanly though. Forward with the big sweeping lines up ahead. And now, I think Mania just playing it smart here. He's just going to wait for this long straight, although Southwell, he has got a good run and a slipstream on Ryan Ford. Just too far away this time. I have to say, this is a great drive from Matt Southwell, guy who's done no practice for tonight, by the way, just in case you were wondering. And he now sits on the podium. Oh, Ford runs wide, so does Southwell. Mania's going to be licking his lips at this point. Oh, both Ford and Southwell run wide. We also have a pass. Oh, here comes Southwell, the big lunge up the inside. He tags the front of Ford, and that sends Ford wide, and that just opens the door for Loic Mania. Ryan Ford slots back into third. We've just had a DNF with Daniel Saluna, so I don't know what happened there. Now to the Aragon wall. One more time. We've only got about 5 minutes left in this race. Oh, battle here. Damn it, which is the camera? That's the camera. Nipris and Lee Walker, and this is inviting Matt Double into the battle as well. It may bring Lama back into threatening Nipris for his position. But Lee Walker now, he's got his mirror full of Matt Double. So head down the front straight. Walker will have the slipstream of Nipris, but he's not really using it. Last of the late breakers, Matt Double. Oh, I thought he was going to touch Nipris then. Oh, Nipperist all over that little button curb there on the inside of the curb. Gets good drive off the corner. But he's struggling for pace in this last quarter of the race. Oh, look at Lama. He is all over the back of Lee Walker. This is what we love seeing. Close racing that is clean. Southwell's on the back of Ford again for the podium. And in fact, there's a three-way battle for the final podium spot as Lama sideways. Oh, I thought he was going into the back of Walker there. But we're going to check in with this battle here because Dravelmir, he is going to be firing up the inside of Southwell into the Aragon wall. And he has made that move. Southwell didn't exactly make it difficult for him. And Southwell running it in deep. He's just got to settle down again. Have faith in his pace. Just let Dravelmir bring him onto the back of Ryan Ford again. Time is running out for Dravelmir. We're into the last 3.5 minutes left of this race. Mashiro Arasaka still your race leader. Loic Mania in second. Ryan Ford hanging on for dear life for the final podium spot. Oh, big move in the background. Lama up the inside of Walker. That was a smooth move from Lieutenant Lama. He demotes Lee Walker back one position. And now Lama sets off in pursuit of Matt Double and Chris Nipperus. We'll check back with Ryan Ford. He's still in third place. Dravelmir just under 8/10 behind. Now Dravelmir closes up onto the back of Ford through the reverse corkscrew. Ford, I think his tyres are just starting to go off a bit. See that delta down the bottom right-hand corner? It's starting to get over 3/10. Once you start going over 3/10, you've lost the performance edge of those tyres. Now Ford going defensive early. Or is he just taking the MotoGP line? So they get out of the hairpin one more time. We are going to be on the final lap of this race. Mashiro Arasaka, a masterclass of driving, started in, I think it was 8th place, and now he leads this race. He was up to 3rd by the end of the first lap. That is how well Mashiro Arasaka has been racing. Tips it around towards the reverse corkscrew for the final time this race. A lot has to be said about Loic Mania coming back from 9th. He's sitting in 2nd at the moment. Dravelmir is still pressuring Ryan Ford for the last podium position. And then just behind Matt Southwell, he's just sort of holding station 8/10 behind Dravelmir. Though he is closing in on the back of Ford. I'd say Ford has been going defensive this last lap as they head through the second reverse corkscrew. He's going to be defensive onto the back straight. That will give Dravelmere every opportunity he can to pick up the slipstream. We'll check in with Arasaka in a few moments. But what's Dravelmere going to do? He's going to send it up the inside. This is going to be a big send. It's going to be a block pass for Dravelmere. Ford's trying to hang around the outside. Southmore's going to get involved. We'll check in with our winner, Mashiro Arisaka. He has taken the win ahead of Loic Mania. Dravelmere holds off Ryan Ford. He steals that podium position in the final lap. Chris Nipris home in 6th place. Ahead of Matt Double, Lieutenant Lama, Lee Walker, and then Bradley home in 10th. What a race. But honestly, this guy, he is an absolute weapon. And he bins it for good measure and sends himself to Narnia. Bye, Mashiro. Have a nice trip. Have a nice trip, mate. And Lotmany is going to join him as well. Are we going to see anyone else? No, we're not. But that is... oh, here we go. We need to have this happening. The 216 guys in formation on the cooldown lap. Anyway, let's hand out some channel points because it was Loic Mania. No one really bet, but that's okay. I guess Ruka's out of points. But, well, let's... Where? Oh. Chris Nipris is off to Narnia as well. Okay, that's good stuff. All right, let's have a look at the final positions of tonight. So Mashiro Arasaka, after starting off of 7th place, comes home for the win ahead of Loic Mania. Dravelmere home in 3rd place ahead of Ryan Ford. He mugged Ryan Ford on the final lap into the hairpin. A great move by Dravelmere. Matt Southwell home behind Ryan Ford to make up the top 5. Chris Nipris home in 6th. Matt Double 7th. Lieutenant Lama 8th, Lee Walker 9th, Bradley in the top 10, and then unfortunately Daniel Cicluna a DNF. Well, we're going to break down that race. Have a look at some replays for you as soon as I bring up my face. Here we are. All right, let's have a look at a replay. So I want to find out what happened to Daniel Cicluna because I saw that he was battling with Chris Nipris and then his name lit up in red. So I have a feeling maybe a bit of argy-bargy. Not sure. We'll see. We'll see. We will see. Have to pick a driver of the race for race number 2 as well, so that's going to be fun. Right, let's see. Cicluna, here you are. So, not yet, not yet, not yet, not yet. Okay, so here we go. He's got Chris Nipris right behind him. And runs a little bit wide. Nipris just tucked in behind. Whoa, big dive bomb there from Chris Nipris. That is unusual, and Cicluna just parks it. Okay, fascinating. Right, now let's have a look at this final move from Dravelmere. I'm going to go on board with him, because this was an absolutely brilliant move from Dravelmere. So he sets him up here. Gets tucked in as close as possible, gets the drive. Forced Ryan Ford to go defensive into that final left hand before we get down this main straight. So he's got the slipstream, just getting closer and closer and closer. Ford's hugging the inside line, but that's not going to stop Drav. In fact, Drav sells him a bit of a dummy there. And a little bit of a block pass, but hey, that's fair. That's legit. And that was all she wrote there. But, I want to have a little bit of a look at race number 1 again, because we were meant to have a look at Mashiro Arasaka's big move. It has to be the power pass, apparently. So we'll definitely have a look at that. Yeah, got my notebook. It's good. It's good. I've been using it. I have been using it. I have to say, that was a very surprising passing manoeuvre from Chris Nipris. I was not expecting that ever to happen from him. Now, I believe this was the move. Yep, so we're actually going to go into a bit of a semi-chase cam here. And we might even make it into slow motion. So you can see up ahead, Llama has run too deep into turn 1. Now Arasaka, he's just managed to keep that mid-corner pace up, and that has allowed him to get a bit of an overlap. It's just caught Llama off guard. And by the time Llama's realised what's happened, it's too late. Mashiro Arasaka up the inside. There's going to be a little bit of a hip and shoulder there. I think that's to be expected. Like, you know, everyone's racing differently. I don't know whether Mashiro is using VR or trip screen, or if Llama is using trip screen. But we'll have a look at that on from Llama's point of view. Now you can see, just grab that front brake a little bit. That's what caused the understeer. And a bit too late. He's aware. Opens the steering wheel a little bit, but still a little bit of contact. Now that was perfect racecraft from Mashiro Arasaka. You're not going to get much better than that. So driver of the race for race number 2. Who are we thinking? Because I think Ryan Ford should get it, honestly. He stood up to a lot of pressure. And he still nabbed a top 5. He had to try and hold off Dravelmere. That was never going to happen down that back straight. So I think I'll give that to Ryan Ford. Race 2, driver of the race. All right. So we'll wrap that part of the stream up. Now let's run through some things that are coming up, because next week it is the final round of the Ford Focus Supercup. But don't fret, GT Club will not be going anywhere. Instead, what they will be having is this. TA2. TA2 muscle cars. Really looking forward to this one. TA2 is just an amazing category if you haven't seen it. What rock have you been living under? But anyway, yeah, GT Club will have the TA2 muscle car series. The registrations are open. Let me give you a Discord link. There you go. Enjoy that. Get involved. That is going to be awesome. I mean, hang on. I'll just bring up the initial grid. So we have 8 drivers signed up already. So, and they have 20 slots, but I reckon there'll be more than that. I'm sure Steve in chat will confirm or deny. Another thing that GT Club will be running very, very soon, starting in March, it is the WEC Championship. LMP1, GTE, doesn't get much better than that. Entries have been flowing in hard and fast of late. So let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, plus an 11th reserve driver in LMP1, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10, and 10 in GTE. So make sure you jump on over to the GT Club Discord, get involved with those 2 series. They're going to be absolutely ballistic. I'm looking forward to broadcasting TA2, and I'll be actually racing WEC, so that's exciting stuff. Our next stream will be next Tuesday for Shakedown Sim Racing, round number 6 at the Nürburgring. That is going to be super exciting as well. The Assetto Corsa Competizione GT3 League. It has been, quite an experience streaming those races. Looking forward to doing more for them as well. And then we'll be back for, obviously, the next Friday night for GT Club's finale of the Ford Focus Supercup. And then on the Sunday, we'll be back to the V8 Supercar Series. So unfortunately, this Sunday, we aren't broadcasting on this channel. I will be broadcasting, though, but I'll be co-commentating with Octane Online for their Bathurst 12-hour race. So it'll be starting, I think, around 5 o'clock. So I'll be co-commentating the last 4 hours of that race. So make sure you jump over to the Octane Online YouTube channel, because that's where they stream these days. But yeah, definitely next Sunday, check out the V8 Supercar Series. That has been amazing. Ruka, what day is that? Sunday for Octane. I won't be racing, but co-commentating. It's fun. Anyway, I think that will do us for tonight. Congratulations to Mashiro Arasaka. That was a great drive in race number 2, and congratulations to Drav. That was as usual, outstanding drive from him in the first race. Anyway, I think we're gonna probably call it there. That was not a bad night. Didn't have the biggest field, but we certainly had some quality racing nonetheless. Supercup never fails to disappoint, no matter who turns up or who doesn't turn up. So, yeah, hit the follow button so you don't miss our streams. And we will see you on Tuesday night for Shakedown Sim Racing. See you later, everyone.